Hello. So here's my own little story about the throat chakra, which I promised you. Well, the great blessing of my life, blessings, I should say, is my two sons, who are both grown men now, of course. You know, they're fully adult, independent beings. But this story goes back some years ago now to a time when my oldest son was just about to leave home for the first time to go to university. And, these were in the days or week or so before running up to this, where we're just anticipating this big change, this big move for him, this exciting beginning, all of that. And we were just in the run up to that time. So, as is usual, my husband and I were going to take our son down to Exeter University and just take all of his stuff, his books, the things he needed down there so that we could just deposit him there and he could begin Freshers Week. So that was the plan. But about 4 days before this, I remember I was out walking and suddenly I felt really unwell. You know, when you feel a virus coming on you and your whole body aches with it and your whole system feels ill and you just want to crawl away somewhere. It was that kind of feeling. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm not feeling very well. Never mind, there's always paracetamol and I'm sure I'll be fine for when we take our son down to Exeter. All will be well by then. Except that as the days went on, it got worse and worse. And the virus, because it was viral, had settled in my throat. Now, it wasn't tonsillitis, which I have had in the past. It wasn't that. This was something else. And it lodged in my throat. It wasn't just an isolated throat, though. I felt really quite ill. And that was something, and is something that really doesn't happen to me very often. So instead of getting better, as I'd hoped, I got worse and worse. And I ended up in bed. I was in bed. I couldn't get up out of bed. I felt so unwell. And the throat became so painful that swallowing water was difficult. I was down to trying to sip soluble aspirin in water, and that was hard. Eating was impossible. It was just one of those situations. And as time went on, I realized I wasn't picking up at all. And of course, the day came when my son was due to go down to university. And I realized that I wouldn't be able to go with him and my husband, who was taking him. And I felt quite devastated about this. And I also felt, well, how can I not go? This is sort of letting everybody down. But I couldn't get up out of bed. And it became evident that they were going to leave. They had to leave without me, and I had to stay at home in bed whilst they went. So lying upstairs in bed, I hear the car pull off the drive, and I know that they've gone, and I'm still there in bed. And at that point, in my weakened state, I began to cry. And I absolutely howled crying. Cried and cried. Just lay there and wept. That went on for some time. And then when the tears finished, I realized that my throat felt better. It was feeling easier than it had felt in days. And that continued. And whatever was whatever I had went away, clearly went away. And as I lay there, I knew for sure, I absolutely knew that this was all because I'd been unable to voice my deepest feelings. So as a mother, I wanted to say, oh no, my baby's going, don't go, don't leave, all of those kind of things. It was this emotional wrench for me. But of course, it was deeply inappropriate for me to say those things and spoil this moment of departure to an exciting new chapter of life. I certainly hadn't wanted to put that onto my son, and I'm glad I didn't. But the effect of that on me was this whole throat chakra issue. It became completely blocked, completely painful, because I couldn't speak. So that's my little story. Maybe you have similar stories relating to different chakras, but that's mine. And I think it just shows us how our energetic body and our physical body are so utterly, utterly connected, and how important this chakra work is, and how important it is that we clear and free up the energies at the chakras as much as we can. So thank you for keeping me company, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.